Oh no, oh no, oh no. All right. It says I'm live. so so good people, here's what we're gonna learn today. I pressed the go live button before I was ready. So I'm not sure if my mic is working. I'm not sure if my mic is working. I don't know how to check and see if this mic is working. Um, tech stuff, y'all. Tech stuff. Can you hear me? If seriously, if you can hear me, please let me know. I'm trying my best um, to fix the mic, but I honestly don't know how. So, can you hear me? All right, let me type in the chat here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, yes, yes. You can hear me. Okay. Um, hopefully my audio is good. I clearly I put the mic. I don't, okay, okay. I have no idea what mic is working. Classic technology. Classic technology. I thought I could set my settings before I turned this on live, and I can't. Once you press the button, you're up. So hey man, you get better as you go. You get better as you go. So Shannon's here. Spot Analytics is here. I think I know who that is. Spot Analytics. Ed is here. Al is here. Andrew's here. Leonel is here. Shannon, thank you so very much. Okay, so let's get right to work. I'm actually doing my second YouTube live in a row. Uh, you know, last time was fun, so I'm looking forward to having fun this time too. I have some notes that are here because some folks asked some questions in advance, and we'll tackle some of those. But let's deal with kind of what we all know is obvious and present. So we are experiencing a pandemic, right? COVID-19 is real, and COVID-19 is affecting us in a variety of ways in our community. But as business people, business is different now. Clearly, business has slowed down for many of us. Clearly, well, let me ask: has business slowed down? Let me just tell me in the chat here. Has business slowed down for you? And maybe tell me what that means, and that may be a starting place for some conversation here. But what I'm hearing on the phone, the energy I'm getting from my audience and my clientele is that business is certainly different, and has certainly slowed down because things are closing. Right? I mean, I live in Georgia, and Georgia has instituted, frankly, a shutdown. Like everything that is not an emergency service pretty much has been advised to shut down. So, or at least pause operations. So what do we do? So one of the major bits of adjustment that culturally we're going through is we're being sent home. People who normally work in an office are being sent to work from home. So now people are virtual in a way that they haven't been virtual before. In my career, I've been virtual the vast majority of my career. That's just kind of the nature of how my life has unfolded. For most of us, we were already used to working from home, or working virtually, working from Starbucks, working from the library, working, at a co-working center. So the idea of working virtually is less threatening to us, but we're watching our clients go through situations and scenarios, and what do we do about that? So this is me trying to enter into that conversation so we can hopefully improve our skill set, our preparation, our ability to help our clients navigate situations better. The better we help our clients navigate situations, then the better it is for us and our clients. Like it's good selfishly, and it's also good for our clients. So Ed says, Ed, as I'm checking as I'm checking notes here. So Ed, this is good because Ed says we're really busy in response to the pandemic. Ed, what does that mean? If you don't mind telling us, what business are you in? Like, what industry do you serve, and what do you sell? That will give us some insight. And so then Spot Analytics says the entire spa business is shut down, right? So especially any business that operates in close quarters, like a spa, probably shut down. Right. So you got two people kind of side by side in the comments here who have very different experiences with this pandemic. And that's one thing I want us to appreciate as business people and as consultants, that Every business is not quote unquote shut down. Every industry is not responding to or is not affected the exact same way in this scenario. So be careful of allowing yourself to accept the doom and gloom message. Oh my God, woe is me. No more clients, no more opportunities. It's all falling apart. Right? Like, I guess you can do that if you want, but it doesn't help you, your business, or your clients that much. So again, right here in the comments, there are two comments side by side where one person is getting even busier while another is getting less busy. So how do we think about that? So Ed, as a strategy consultant, we're helping business pivot with new strategy. Bingo, right? So see that even in that simplicity, that is available to all of us. Right? So I'm a strategy consultant. I would argue to you that all of us on some level are strategy consultants. There's some level of strategy thinking that's involved in what we offer. Okay. So then he says, we're helping businesses pivot with new strategy. So if you are a consultant, and if you're watching this, you probably are. if you're a consultant and thinking is one of your best assets, so then how can you help your clients think differently, think better, think more profitably about the situation? And I'm not talking about high-minded, fanciful charts and graphs strategy. There's a place for that. But inside your ability, inside what you understand, inside your agility inside this topic, how can you help your clientele better navigate this situation? And I'm telling you, man, there's money in that. That is a value proposition. So, but the thing though about that is there's a mental shift you've got to make. This doesn't work if you're trying to do business the way you were doing it 6 weeks ago or 3 months ago. You are going to have to think about how your client can navigate the situation, and you've got to be honest about what you can and cannot do in response to what they have going on. So can you solve every problem? No, you can. But I mean, again, it's in our comments. This is not me. The people in the comments here are talking about what they're doing to help navigate this. So let me catch up on some comments here. Leonel asks, is this a good time to start a business in consulting? Business is down. SMB are short on liquidity. Thanks. Right. So Leonel, I just spent the last 2 minutes talking about that. Right. If you can solve a problem, solve it. There's always money in solving a problem. Always. There's always money in solving a problem. The question is can you solve a problem? Not can you offer services, not can you offer your expertise, not are you smart or talented. I don't challenge any of that, by the way. But your client on the other end is trying to understand what to do and do something about it. They're trying to think it through and execute. And can you help a client do that? And there are thousands, if not millions of ways of helping a client do that. But that is your responsibility. Identify that problem and deal with it. Fix it for them, right? Right. So Al says that hospitality has come to a halt. Right. So if you work in the hospitality industry, right, then you've taken a hit. Right. This is something that has slowed down. But I would challenge Al, and I would challenge anybody else. What do you do about that? What should your client do about that? What can or should your client do if you serve the hospitality industry or a related industry? How can you help your client navigate this situation better? It's an open-ended question, right? There is no one answer. There's plenty of answers, but you have to think about it, dear consultant. You've got to think about it. Right, janitorial is busy in Vegas. My good friend's super busy, right? So janitorial still moving, right? Let's see here. First University. Looking at going consultant. Anyone has tips? Right. Andrew, tips, plenty of them. I got a YouTube channel dedicated to tips. So, if lots to be said in that space. Shannon says, thank you, Shannon. Shannon says she slowed down on trying to get new clients because she wasn't sure if she should push forward. Just being honest. I appreciate that. And there's actually a number of things attached to that idea. Shannon, serve clients. If people need help and you have the bandwidth to help them, go. I don't know any reason why you wouldn't, if you can service the business. Now, if you can't service it, if you're not comfortable, if you don't know how, different conversation. But if there are opportunities in front of you to grow your business, go. And I would say to you, though I'm trying my best to help us frame the situation well, there are a lot of people right now who are frozen in activity, just frozen because they don't know what to do. We're in a very uncertain time. And for many people, when you're uncertain, you do nothing. You just hold and you kind of hope that it blows over. There's a lot of folks who are in that space. So Shannon, if you see opportunities for your business, go, because you'll find that your competitor is still sitting on his hands. So there's space there if you like. Ed says we help a steakhouse client that was closed down, move to packaging high-end cut meats and deliver. They have rehired all 60 of their employees. Ed, thank you, sir. Thank you. In fact, there are many restaurants who are doing curbside pickup, their version of curbside pickup. You can order online, you can call up and order, you can stop in and order, and you can pick it up, on the way out, whatever. But so if it's not safe or not appropriate for folks to come in and sit down and have the traditional experience, what else can we do? And so there's an example, right? But this requires us as consultants to be mentally agile. We've got to keep thinking. So, I titled this, I forgot the exact title, but this idea of small businesses that are panicking in response to COVID. And I used that title because that is a title that someone in my audience suggested. That was a question that someone asked. So what do we do? And we're having that dialogue right now, right? So your job is to keep thinking, but not thinking about what you think you can sell them or even what you think they need. Your job is to solve for the problem your client is facing. Now, here is a category of consultant that is absolutely struggling right now, where they may have been okay 2 months ago or 6 months ago. The generalist consultant is struggling right now. If you consider yourself a generalist and you are a broad sweeping marketing consultant or a broad sweeping strategy consultant or a broad sweeping leadership consultant, if you've been selling services in that broad umbrella, I bet it's real tough right now. Why is it tough? Because your prospective client isn't really sure what problems you can and cannot solve for. They're uncertain about what you can solve for because you haven't told them. What you can solve for. So they're uncertain. So now for your client, there's double uncertainty present for them. The environment at large, the general economy, presents uncertainty. And then when they think about your business, they get more uncertainty. So how is your client supposed to move forward if they're uncertain in layers? No, man, clients are the exact opposite. They respond to certainty. So your job is to give clients, matter of fact, hold on. Let me find is my marker near me? I'm gonna write that down and put that on the board, right? One of your fundamental responsibilities to your clients is to give clients certainty. Give clients certainty. And there's many ways of doing this, right? And I'm not talking about certainty as in, promising some $1 million promise. That's fancy marketing crap. That's not helpful. I'm talking, there are things that your client right now is uncertain about. And you have an opportunity inside your business to give your client certainty about those things. Wait, client, you don't have to worry about that. We can fix that. Oh, client, I know that's a concern. I know you're worried about that, but that we can deal. There are ways of getting around that client. Give your client certainty. That rule is always true, but if you've been having trouble resonating with your clientele lately, I bet fundamentally it's because of uncertainty. You don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. Well, who gets paid then? Nobody, right? People just sit on their hands. Good, man. Yeah. Jack says our clients are doctors who are running scared about right now. What are others doing to reach this audience? Right. Jack, I would say, I actually have some doctors in my network, some folks who are medical health professionals in my network. And I don't think, from my point of view, I don't think doctors are actually running scared. I think they are incredibly busy. That's what I think. That is what my folks, the folks who are in my network, people I know personally who are doctors, that is the narrative they're giving me, is that they are incredibly busy. The demands on their time has hit a 2x, a 3x, a 4x. I mean, it is. So getting them on the phone or interacting with them is not because they don't like you or because they're scared of the moment. It's because this situation has put incredible demands on their time. Now, Jack, are you aware of the demands on their time? One. Are you aware of how your doctor client is responding to those demands? Two. Are you aware of the end goal or the preferred situation of that doctor client? Three. So being able to resonate with a doctor when they're under this level of stress is about, number one, understanding their situation better. And if you don't have enough understanding of their situation, you won't resonate. And it doesn't matter what strategy or tactic or fancy tool you try. Your number one responsibility is to resonate better with that person. So there's a lot to be said there. If there's questions or comments, I'm open to all rebuttals. But that is there's a fundamental there that we as consultants sometimes miss. Is, we are very excited about offering what we know, offering what we have, sharing with other people, and we get disconnected. We forget sometimes that the other person is less interested in what we want to offer them, but they're incredibly interested in relieving the pressure of their situation, of solving the problem currently facing them. There's a lot going on there. Okay. All right. All right. So Dark Scorpion says, so what would you say to the one that has been seeking their first client when this happened? Well, that depends, Dark Scorpion. So if you're seeking your first client, that has its own challenges already. But I tell you what, if you are in a first client situation, here's what I would say to you. Your first client is going to come from your referral network, people you know personally. Period. Your first client and often your first best client is going to come from people you already know personally. So you got to leverage your personal networks to find your first client. One. Two, second part of that is the next tier is to leverage some sort of freelance marketplace. So, Upwork comes to mind, Elance comes to mind. It was called Elance. I think now it's called Upwork. And there's others. There's plenty of them. But that is the second place where you're going to find your next client. So if that's where you are, and there are people still on Upwork looking for business, looking for help. There are people on every other platform that's out there related to your industry, still looking for help. So that's still there. Right? Go find yours, find the one that fits your expertise and go. But Dark Scorpion, like I've said 1,000 times before, here goes 1,001. If you're offering generalist services, you're going to find it hard to resonate. You got to be able to solve a specific problem. Yada, yada, yada. Right? Yada, yada, yada. Maurice, how do you help that audience that is general? So Maurice is asking, Marcia, I think Maurice is more or less a generalist. I think that's what he's referring to. How would you help that audience? I'll respond to that in 30 seconds. You need to be honest about what you do best. You need to be with yourself. You need to be honest with yourself about what audience of people you know best, and combine those two things to create a service. Period. Now, there's complexity to that. There are details to that, but that is where you're going to find your momentum. Doing things where you already have the most amount of confidence and understanding, and serving a group of people that you already are relevant to. In that combination is where you want to be. So, Jack, I appreciate that my response was valuable to you. So, again, let's go back to Dark Scorpion. You got it. So let's go back to this panic thing, right? Because even if, so in the spirit of these panicked small business owners, even if you are not panicked, so you might be saying back to me, Alze, I got it. I understand. I'm running my business. I'm doing the best I can. I'm so out here trying to solve problems. I got my head screwed on straight. Okay, but you still may find that your client's panicked because they don't know what the heck is going on, right? So, like, what do you do in response to your panicked client? So there's some kind of some tiers here. Hold up, here we go. Something else to write down here. Okay. I've said this different ways, but the core of it is always the same. Hopefully I'm getting my spellings not right. Hold on. I'll be there in just a second. Hold on. Here is my punchline. Anxiety cannot make the decision. Anxiety cannot make the decision. So your client who's trying to figure out what to do when everything is uncertain, it might be true that your client is navigating their situation with panic. Panic, anxiety, worry, concern, uncertainty. There are many different ways of saying it, but they're just not thinking clearly. There's a haze of fear that is affecting their current thoughts. And one of the things that you need to offer to your client is to help them understand that anxiety should not be the state of mind that they use to make the decision, right? It's a version of an emotional decision. You cannot allow that. So it is in your client's best interest if you slow them down, if you help. Wait, whoa. What's happening? What should we do? What are our options? Which would you prefer? If we take that option and play it all the way out, is that good for you? Any of us can do this. If you are a consultant, you're supposed to have that basic skill set. You're supposed to be able to dialogue with your potential client in situations like this and help navigate them through the moment. You have to take that responsibility. Now, you might push back on me and say, but Alze, they didn't pay for that. I offer consulting fees and carrying on. I understand. But if your client can't see clearly, then they also can't decide to pay you. So, like, your money is tied to their clarity. They have to understand. Where's my first note, right? Give clients certainty. Clients need to understand what to do next. It's got to make sense to them. So, bottom line here, you can't allow your clients to get so panicked that they make poor choices. So you should be leaning in to their situation, trying to understand it better, and helping them offer them some avenues to move through. That's appropriate. That's period. Let's see. I'm checking the comments here. I'm seeking in this time to target my personal community social network to build. Yep. So Maurice is already in the rhythm of reaching out to his current network. Got it. Sounds good. How can I communicate with the group at one time without getting overwhelmed? Startup, action plan, developing, consulting, business. Yep. So hey Maurice, I would encourage you in the short term to not try to reach out to groups, quote unquote groups. I would encourage you to be more precise about who you're reaching out to. And I make this recommendation to almost every client in almost every situation, because there is an amazing amount of value in the precision of specificity. Not only does it give you fewer things to manage, because you use the word overwhelm. Didn't I read that? I did. I read the word overwhelmed. So not only does fewer inputs limit overwhelm for you, fewer things to manage, the specificity of messaging benefits the target person better. Now they don't hear 9 things at once. Now they only hear the precise message you have for them. What should that message be? It should be an offer to solve a problem. Now, again, Maurice, I don't know enough about what you sell to pick all that apart, but it should be an offer to solve a problem. If you don't know what the problem is, then back up a step. Offer to understand the problem. Like that should be as consultants, people who offer advice and services for a living. Our services are useless if there is no problem to be solved. Useless. So let's get in the habit of hearing the problem clearly and offering to solve it. And speaking of problems that I've heard clearly, let me tell you about a solution that I'm currently offering. So one of the challenges that I've heard for years from consultants, folks like Maurice and other folks, it's outreach time. It's time to reach out to people, and we don't know what to say. We don't know how to do it. It's weird. It feels like selling. It's just fundamentally awkward or strange, and friction. And I've watched too many of my clients struggle with the challenge of doing outreach. So here is my best solution coming from Coveted Consultant. My best solution for those of us who don't like prospecting or are challenged with the idea of prospecting: create content, specifically create YouTube videos. That's what I've been doing for years. I've been creating YouTube videos for years, and it has produced evergreen leads into my business. Like I don't have to work hard for them. I don't have to get up every morning and call 100 people, because my YouTube videos do work for me. Now, that statement is true, yes, but my use of YouTube is very much systematic. It's a process that I follow, and I repeat that process on a regular basis. So if YouTube's going to be good for you, same rules apply. You're going to have to build and execute on a process. No magic. But if you'll do that, if you'll build the process and work it like it's supposed to be, do it on a regular basis, you will get evergreen leads coming to you. So I'm teaching that process, but I'm only doing it to a hand-picked group of people because I want folks who are serious about this. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time either. There's an application that you're going to have to fill out in order to qualify for this experience. And the link is in the description below. So you can click that link and you can apply right there on the page. I've actually made the application process. I've sped it up for those people who I've simplified it for those folks who watch the live like you are right now. So if you've come this far with me and you like the YouTube thing and you like to mimic that in your own business and get the benefits in your own business, I'd like to help you do that, help you execute that. Small group of people, I'm going to be teaching it to them, working with them very intensely. There's a link you can use to apply. The link is in the description, and the form is right there. You can click the link, click that form. Now, I will tell you, though, depending on when you're watching this video, that form may not be there anymore. So this is a short-term offer that I'm making for those people who are here with me live and kind of in this experience with me. So if you're into it, click it. Click the link, apply. We'll talk about this program, how it can work for you. If it does, we'll take our next steps. Let us continue. So Maurice says, I'm looking to organize my community in a directory format to target them in an organized way. I'm overwhelmed with organizing this. Oh, okay. Well, appreciate it, Maurice. So Maurice is talking about prospecting, and we're talking about friends and family, right? So, your current net worth. Hey, Maurice, make a list of the top 10 people that you believe you can help. Like, seriously, when you think about the situation, when you're sitting at your desk and you're thinking about John and your friend Sam and Samantha and Richard and the people that you know, there's a top 10 list of people, top 10. Put them in a list. Send them an email. Like, don't make some 90-page list and then try to flow through. That is horrendous on the brain. 10 names. 10 names. Who are they? That you truly believe that you can help. Call them on the phone. Reach out to them. Call them, email them, something. Text them, something. Reach out. Touch them. Hey, can I help you? I know I can help you. Let's talk about it. Done. When you've done those 10 names, do 10 more. Either This is the work. Do it or don't do it, your choice. But this is the work. You can make it more complex, but I'm telling you, there's money in what I'm describing to you. All right. All right, cool. So there are a couple of other questions that came in earlier. That I'm going to walk through some of those, but shades of Record. Did I say that right? Shades of Record says, I started a YouTube channel at the suggestion of your other videos. Thank you for them, by the way. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad they're valuable. I'm still working out the bugs to achieve what you're suggesting. Yeah. Right. This YouTube thing is challenging, right? Like it is. So I understand. Let me tell you, I know that there are a lot of talking heads on the internet. I'm one of them. And they make things look and feel so easy. I know. And they promise you that if you just do this one thing, everything is easy. It all flows together. Money falls from the sky. Clients, You have seen those promises way too often. And I have no interest in continuing with those ridiculous promises. YouTube has some nuances. YouTube has some difficulty, but YouTube has an amazing value proposition if you'll push through the difficulties. In my experience, I've pushed through those difficulties. I found some new ones because there are levels to the game. But I understand what you should be doing in order to leverage YouTube as a small channel. You don't need a million subscribers or 100,000 subscribers. No, you really don't. You really, really don't. But what you must have is a strategy, and you must have the will to execute. So you better think it through, and you better do your work like you're supposed to. So if you'll do those things, then YouTube can be one heck of a platform for you. But I'm not going to tell you that it's quote unquote easy, and that's just not fair. It's not fair. We can simplify it, but it still has its nuances. So if you want help with that, listen, if you want help, there's a link in the description. You click that link. You can apply to work with me directly. We'll be in a small group, and we'll do the YouTube thing. We'll set it up the right way, and we'll build it out brick by brick. So, all right. Al says, I reached out to the Chamber of Commerce here, and they were happy for my initiative to help out with my services. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, who can you help? Call them. Good job, Al. Jack says, I'm writing down what you're saying. Could you give me a synopsis of what you were just saying about doing the 10 things? I'm older and my writing is slower. That's funny, Jack. I appreciate it. Well, one, this video, there'll be a replay to this video, right? It's live on YouTube. So just keep the link and you can go back and watch it as many times as you would like. I think what you're referring to, Jack, as far as the 10 things, is make a simple list of the top 10 people that you believe you can help. Write their names down. Do not overthink it. They'll come to you quickly. Write their names down if you believe you can help them. And then reach out to them, period. Call them on the phone, send the email, send the text. Hey, I was thinking about you. Do you still need help with X? Just do it. Just do it. Just do it and see what happens. But that action is way more profitable than thinking about it for 90 days in a row or developing these incredibly complex marketing systems. Ugh, how stressful is that? Maurice says, wait, but I have a following of 4,000. I don't know what that means, Maurice. I don't know what that means. I'm less interested in your following of 4,000 if they're not potential clients. Top 10, focus. Not just Maurice, all of us. Focus. Top 10. Who are they? Call them up. Now you can make it hard if you like. I'm just saying. SJB. I have no idea how to say that. Please type that phonetically for me so I can learn something today. How do you pronounce SJB? I have no idea. But SJB says, always solid advice. I love your all ham, no spam. That's the first time I've ever heard the phrase all ham, no spam. First time I've ever heard it. But right. Thank you for the compliment. The way I communicate to you is the way you should be communicating to your clientele. Whether their prospects haven't bought a thing, or their current clients who for the first time, or their longstanding clients who you've been serving for the last 3 years. Like, you owe them more of the reality of how to move beyond their current situation. You owe them the truth. But as consultants, we get caught in traps of covering up the truth with marketing stuff and professional platitudes. And I'm telling you, man, you can skip that stuff. You don't have to play this game, this shaking hands and kissing babies game of consulting. It's ridiculous. Be as helpful as you can, as fast as you can, and the money comes just as quickly. Maurice says my community is lazy. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. We could debate that all day long, but I hear that kind of comment from my clients often. We have this narrative as consultants about our client base. They don't blank. They don't blank. They don't blank. I heard a phrase one day. Someone said, if it wasn't for the customers, we could make some money around here. How crazy is that? Right? Like, your customers are not your enemy. Your clients are not your enemy. What is more important is that you hyper focus on a problem that they're facing and offer a specific solution to that problem. And you'll find that when you do that better, when you get better at that, when you get better at it, as I get better at it, as my clients get better at it, as we get better at that, we find that people are all of a sudden less lazy. They feel more motivated. And why are they all of a sudden more motivated? It's not because of your charisma or some fancy marketing ploy. It's because you're being more directed and more focused on what they want to do. This sounds so simple. I know it does. You may have heard this 100 times before. It sounds like like elementary advice. But when we look at your own website, look at your own LinkedIn profile, look at your own Facebook page, look at your own email, look at your own material, and look at what you are communicating to your audience. Does it meet the standard? Are you offering to solve a problem for people? That is how I came up with, or why I'm teaching the YouTube course, because I've watched too many of my clients struggle with prospecting. And I've heard my clients gripe and complain and whine and avoid prospecting. So I'm doing my best to offer a solution for those of us who don't like prospecting, who are avoiding prospecting. We can create video content, and we can do it on YouTube in a scalable, leverageable, evergreen sort of way. I am actively practicing what I preach, and I've avoided teaching YouTube, showing people YouTube, because I'm aware of its complexities. So, but in the program I've designed, we are removing those complexities, and we're making it a lot easier to move through. But I am doing my best to offer a solution to people with a specific problem. There are other people in my audience who need a website built. I don't build websites. There are other people in my audience who want copywriting done. I don't write copy. There's a current client of mine right now who offered me a job. She offered me some specific work to do inside of her business, and I declined because I don't do that work. I could. It's not what I focus on. That's not the problem I want to solve. I focus on solving specific types of problems. So I'm doing my best to show you the actual application of the ideas I'm describing, not just broad sweeping suggestions, but the actual application of how these things are done. Al says, as consultants, we need to be focused. I'm sorry, too many things that are flying in front of me here. As consultants, we need to be a pillar in the community. People are looking to believe it. People are looking to us, believe it or not. Right. Okay. So back to give clients certainty. Right. Okay. So that's that simple idea. People, especially in this uncertain time, need certainty. Your job as a consultant is to provide the certainty you can. It's you don't know everything, and neither do I. I have no idea what's going to happen 6 months from now. I don't know what's going to happen 6 minutes from now. I have no idea. But there are things that I know how to do. There are problems that I know I can solve, and so when appropriate, I offer those solutions to my client base. So when we talk about being a pillar in the community, we're talking about in your audience of people being known for something specific. For your audience of people, your audience being able to identify you and your company as a solution to a problem. And if I sound like a broken record, because I realize how many times I've said that, if I sound like a broken record, you need to hear it that many times, because if you look at your own material, when someone asks you, what do you do? Hey, John, good to meet you. What do you do? Hey, Barbara, good to meet you. What do you do? Hey, Rachel, nice to meet you. So what do you do? When someone asks you, what do you do? How long does it take to answer the question? Are you happy with the response you give? Does the person you're talking to, do they reflect understanding of what you said? Privately, when I talk to clients privately and we do our heavy lifting behind the scenes, people don't like any of them three responses. They're not comfortable with any of what they say to those three answers, because it's harder than it looks. It's harder than it looks, but it's a standard we have to meet. Problem solution. It's a standard we have to meet if we want to resonate with our client base. Okay. If you got a question, you got a thought, I probably should have said that early on, though the comments are keeping me busy. I'm talking back to you. But if you've got a precise, sharp question, let's ask it. Let's have a little interaction here. Let's see what happens. But I'm having fun being here with you. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I realize that there is stress in the air right now. There's uncertainty in the air. There's anxiety in the air, and we don't know what to do. And we need to better orient ourselves so we can keep moving forward profitably. So I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this so that you can have so we can keep moving, right? Because life keeps moving whether we like it or not. So you're stressed, unstressed, tomorrow still comes. So keep your feet moving. You know what I mean? Don't fall victim to the moment. Be your problem solver, James says. You doggone right every single day. So SJB shows up again. SJB says, how do we deal with the client who says, Bubby, we need to cut our budget with you by 50%. What can you do? Even though there's no real proof of loss of their revenue by 50%, how do we negotiate that? All right, good question. I appreciate that. So there's some layers to that, okay? So, and some of this I've already talked about, but this is the application of the ideas. If your client comes to you and says, pick up the phone. Hey, John, good talking to you today. Here's the deal, man. We're gonna cut your budget 50%. Bye. What do you do? Okay, first of all, let's address the reality. That's not how that conversation goes, period. That's not how that conversation actually unfolds. That may be how you heard it, but that's not what actually happened. There's dialogue before that message is delivered. There's dialogue after that message is delivered. Even if you get it in an email, it's not a hard statement of we're cutting your budget, period. Bye. That's not what happens. That's not what happens. What you in practicality, what you get is some messaging of given the current situation, we have to make some cuts, and we think and we're going to be cutting your budget by 50%. What am I trying to get at here with this dialogue that I'm setting up is that there is dialogue that surrounds that decision. So the way that the question is currently framed right now, it puts you in a reactionary point, right? Alzay, they've cut my budget. What do I say? Well, if they've already cut your budget, it's cut. Like if it's already done, it's done. If the client has decided, they've decided. So there's only space for conversation if there's space for conversation. Now, the question is, do you see that? Do you see the space for conversation? That being said, very simple kind of response from me is you got to get your client on the phone. You got to get your client on the phone and ask honestly about what's affecting them. Ask honestly about what's going on in their situation. Do your best to understand what's happening and then recommend the most appropriate solution you can. But what you absolutely should not do is be defensive. Oh, they've cut my budget. So what do I need to do to make them think another way? That's defensive. What do I say to change his mind? That's defensive. You can't change somebody else's mind. You can't make him or make her do something different. Wrong framing, inappropriate framing. Again, find space for the conversation. And you've got to be willing to have that conversation. And then you've got to be creative enough, back to you being a consultant, being able to think through things. You've got to be creative enough to find an alternative mode. Now, the bottom line may still be that the budget is cut. That may still be the bottom line. I'm not suggesting that there's always some way of getting what you want, because it's not about what you want. It's about what problem your client has. But if you will align yourself with the problem that they're having, they may find some budget for you, number one. But my wife works virtually like I do. My wife is a consultant just like I am. My wife has a nationwide client. My wife is being promoted right now. This is happening inside my own house. Inside my own house, amongst all the things that are going on in the situation, they are actually expanding the scope of my wife's work. She's also a consultant. They are currently expanding her scope, and they are finding revenue. They're finding dollars. They're finding budget space in order to expand her scope. They're making it work. Why? Why are they making it work? Because my wife is actually solving a problem for her client. My wife can articulate to you the precise problem she's solving. Not she's smart because she is smart. Not because she has education because she's got plenty of that. Not because she has some complex background with all these tools and templates because she's got plenty of that stuff too. In addition to all of those things, she can articulate to you, she can articulate to her client what problem she's solving. And because she's so good at that, and because her client understands that, they value that with budget, even when other things are uncertain. This is not something I'm inventing. These are not ideas that I've invented. This is our responsibility as consultants. Identify that problem, do our best to solve it. Is it difficult? Yes, it is. It is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard, but it's also a skill. And you get better at this the more you do it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more zeros show up in your income. Not because you're smart, but because you have a precise way of understanding what problem is happening and removing that problem from your client. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. Cool beans. So yeah, where's the link? I made it. It's the link is in the description. For those people who do not enjoy prospecting, I know it's not a lot of fun. I've done it. I did it for a long time. I have some aptitude around prospecting. I think I'm kind of good at it. I don't like it though. And so what I had the good fortune of doing years ago is I was creating content while I was prospecting. I was making YouTube videos while I was still prospecting. And I didn't realize this, but 6 months later, 9 months later, 2 years later, 4 years later, the value that I laid down with those YouTube videos has created inbound leads for me. And I didn't realize that I had done a good thing until really years afterwards. Now I have it down to a system, down to a process, down to an operations manual, if you will. And so it won't take you 6 months or 6 years to get momentum. You'll see momentum a lot faster. And so I'm teaching that methodology. I'm teaching the process. I'm showing it all to you. So if you want to use YouTube to replace your cold prospecting, that's what we're talking about, or that's the link that he's referring to. There's an application process. You must apply. It's going to be a small group. I want to make sure it's the right kind of group because I want to have fun doing it. I want you to enjoy it, and I want to enjoy it too. So if you're open to it, apply. It's in the link below. And then we'll talk about how using YouTube can help limit your dependence on prospecting, if not remove it altogether. Cool beans. All right. So I'm going to hang on for about 10 more minutes here. Got a question, got a thought. I appreciate, I'm reading in the comments that you're finding value in this exchange. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that this is useful to you. I also want to say thank you back to you. Thank you for engaging with me in this space. Because on my end, I'm looking at a lens in a camera, and I don't see anybody. So, I'm lonely over here, so to speak. So you talking back to me, you engaging with me in the chat window helps me know that I'm not talking to the air, and also make sure that whatever I offer you is on target. Your questions, your comments keep me on target, so I don't float off into theory land with things that may not be useful to you. Awesome, Jason. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad you're here. Okay. There were a few more things in the minutes that we have left that people asked. I'm gonna try to rapid fire them. So I may not do full justice to the question because I just, but I tell you what, though, if you're hanging out and you're having fun, I'm having fun. So if you keep talking back to me, I'll hang. But here we go. So one person asked the question about these are some questions that were submitted earlier. How to create exciting offers to get new clients. So there's a term that I use a lot in Coveted Consultant, and that is productized service. I strongly recommend that you create a productized service. The quick understanding there is that your service should feel more like a tangible product. So your service should feel concrete. It should have a fixed scope, a fixed time, and a fixed price. And it makes it much easier for your client or your prospective client to understand and buy it because they know what it is now. They can kind of get their hands around it and then buy it the way they want to buy it. So how do you do that? Well, there's context we've been discussing this whole live about. You got to solve a problem, focus on that person, and remove the problem from them. So your productized service is the step-by-step method you take to remove that problem. A short analogy is like if you were running, you stretch first, then you run, and then you do a cool down. That's how running works. And so when you work with clients, it's very similar. You stretch first, you do the heavy lifting, and then you recap at the end. And that's how your services should work. So get to that standard as fast as you can. Like that standard makes life a lot easier for everybody involved. What else we got here? So how to position how to position your new productized services to small business owners who might be panicked in this economy. That's been our whole narrative today, so we've covered that. Finding your core service, determining your avatar. I understand you. I know you hear the advice often to, you should have a core service. I also say that. You should have a core service. You should have an avatar. Inside Coveted Consultant, when I work with clients, we do this work literally, specifically, and intensely. Like it's not just conceptual. I made an avatar and downloaded one off the internet. We create literal assets inside your business where your service is spelled out on a one-page sheet of paper, and you know exactly what happens at each step, and you know what the price point is. I mean, we get clinical about it. Same thing with the avatar. Who you're targeting, what their problems are, where you can find them. I mean, we get clinical about it because I believe that clarity is required in order to serve your clients well. So how do you do that? Here's the fastest way I can say it. You need to be honest with yourself about what you do well, period. Listen, there's a lot of things you don't know. Be honest about the difference. Second, you need to be honest about the industry that you are best serving, period. Be honest. So yes, maybe you could one day help a construction business, but if you've been working in restaurants all your life, restaurants are where you should target. Yes, it's true that you could help, funeral directors make more money, maybe. But if you've been a VA all your working career, VA is where you should start. So be honest with yourself about those two things, and that's where your thoughts should go. Think in that direction. So Maurice came back with, how do I get a clear type of problem I want to solve for my community? How do I narrow it? I just addressed that as best I can. I will tell you that we cover that. what audience to focus on, what servicing to offer, or how to focus on that service. We're covering that in our YouTube work. So this YouTube course that I've been talking about that you have to apply for, so you can do less cold prospecting. Your YouTube videos work; they resonate. Your YouTube channel becomes useful to you if it's appropriately focused. So there is some avatar work that we have to do in order for your YouTube efforts to be focused. We do that inside the course. There is even some service design work that we do inside the YouTube, because you got to focus. You got to focus. It's not just making YouTube videos because it's fun. We're not beauty bloggers around here. That's not what we do here, right? So we can't just do things because they're quote unquote fun. We gotta be focused. So that work is part of how we approach YouTube, and it's what I'll be teaching people to do. So if you're looking for a mechanical, methodical way of moving through these tough questions, that's why I'm teaching the YouTube course. And you have to apply for it. It's not free, clearly. You have to apply for it, and there's a link in the description under the video. How much does the course cost? Thank you for that question. I'm happy to talk about pricing once you apply. So there's some criteria to make sure that this even works for you. And that criteria is on the page. So you can click that link, you can see the page, and it says, I can, I will, I can, I will. And so if those things fit you, apply. Let's talk about it. And I'm happy to talk about pricing with you. The program is affordable. It's definitely not overly priced like some bloated pricing, but it's actually cheaper than what other offerings of mine have been quietly. So, but I'll discuss pricing in detail once you admit that this is the kind of thing that can actually help you. So that matters a lot to me, that we're solving problems out here. Maurice says, I don't see the link. Should be in the description. I hope it is. Right. Thank you, Shades. Like, I mean that. That's important to me. It's part of my philosophy, whether you agree or disagree, that I listen first before we talk about pricing. That's true. I mean that. It's also something I help my clients apply. I think it matters a lot. So, we're having trouble finding the link, are we? Somebody tell me if somebody confirm for me that you cannot find the link, because I'm live. I'm in a weird space. Or you can just post a link in the chat. So I don't find myself bouncing around pages trying to figure out where the heck the link is. Thank you for helping me out with that. I was addressing some questions. So if you can't find the link, tell me, and then I'll figure it out. So someone asked me. So one of the questions I got earlier before I went live. So how did I decide to do this as a profession? Like, why did I choose this? And how has the industry changed over the years? I actually have a lot to say about this. I think there's a valuable conversation for both of us in this. We've already been on the line for an hour, so I won't force another hour just because. But why did I decide to do this? Yeah, got you. All right. So why does that? Okay. Long time ago, 2008. I was working a job, right? I was an internal consultant. I was a business consultant that focused on one client. My client was my employer. So I was an internal consultant, and I didn't like my working environment, right? I didn't feel optimally utilized. And so I stepped out to start my own business. I thought at the time I was going to be an MBA admissions coach. I have an MBA degree. I have a whole story with that. I'll skip that story for now for the sake of speed. But I had to work harder than the average person in order to attend business school, period. And so I was forced to understand the process better than the average person did. And so I had some insight about how the process worked in order to get into a good school. And so I was offering my insight as a coach. That's where I started. And I'm going to skip a lot of years here. I got more and more interested in the business. The business stuff called me again. So yes, I was doing admissions coaching because that's what I thought I knew, and that's what I thought I could sell. But that kind of business consulting part of me kept calling. And so I kept finding myself kind of being drawn back to serving small business owners. And so those are the services that I've offered. I've offered them a variety of different ways. I believe, if I'm honest with myself about what I'm good at, being a business consultant is one of my stronger skills. I got a lot of practice at it. I like it, et cetera, et cetera. I chose consultants because it's an industry I knew well, period. And consultants, there's all types, right? I mean, there's marketing folks, there's architecture folks, there's leadership folks, there's accountants, there's a lot of different angles on this thing called consulting. And I found myself kind of drawn to that industry. It's what I knew. It's an art form I understood. The art form of being a better consultant is what I understood. And so that's where I chose to focus. So there's a lot of story in between that, but that's kind of the main thrust of it. I believe that the profitability in your business isn't just more marketing ideas. There's thousands of those. But if you focus on some core concepts, the value of your work goes up a zero. You add a whole zero to your services. The speed of your work hits an exponent. And the scalability of your business is amazing. But the what's the cost to get those benefits? The cost is that you've got to change the way you think about your business. What you think you should be doing in order to make your business work for you, it probably isn't what you should be doing. And it's a lot of well-intended advice just doesn't apply. It just doesn't work well. And so I've dedicated this channel to help us reframe, all of us, me included, because I still practice these skills. You don't finish. You just keep getting better. I try my best to practice these skills so that I get better, we get better. And as we get better, our clients get better. And just like the gentleman, I forgot his name, I said his name earlier, who as a strategy consultant helped his clients pivot to delivering services. So we're delivering their product, where they were a restaurant, getting in food, and then you help them pivot and move, right? Like if you can get your head around those kind of thoughts, man, the money flow in your business is awesome. It's everything you ever wanted it to be, but you've got to level up how you think. So I care about it. I care about that topic. So I stay here. I stay here in this niche. So the question is, hey, Pete wants to know, Alzay, what time zone are you in? Can you work with someone in Eastern Europe? Yes, I am happy to say that I work with clients literally across the globe. Literally. UK, Australia, Philippines, on and on. So we can make the time zone thing work. So Pete, if the value proposition of no more cold prospecting resonates with you, if YouTube is a platform you'd like to leverage and you like my approach to YouTube, it's worth completing the application so that we can have that conversation. It's in the link. It's in the description, rather. The link is in the description of this video. So you can click that link, you can apply, and then we'll just talk about what works or what doesn't. If this doesn't work for you, if the time zones don't work or the method doesn't work for you, then we'll just say that and both move on. Like this is not supposed to be weird, but we got to talk about it so we can make sure that we're on the right page, on the same page. Maurice asked, how do I test my clients to know if they're completely serious? I know what you're saying there, Maurice. Let's go back to problem solution. If your client has a problem, if they'll admit, if the client, if he or she will admit and say, yes, I have a problem, they're serious right there. Then you say, do you want that fixed? They say yes or they say no. They're serious right there. And then you say, to work with me is $45,000. Do you want to go ahead and get started? They're serious number 3. Like, so there's no need to test clients. If you do your job to focus the right way, they'll just tell you what they want to do. You don't have to tussle about that. I'm very serious about that. And you'll be surprised how easy that becomes if you flip your mind. So no need for testing. Who cares about that, right? Just, hey, man, do you want help with that? Thank you. All right, cool beans. All right, cool. So was there any more questions? Right. Someone asked a question here, and I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this to kind of wrap me up here, right? Someone asked a question early on. They said, "How do you personally build and profit from your email list?" And I know no one's asked that today, but I think all of us should have an email list. All of us. You don't need 10,000 people on an email list. You don't need 5,000 people on an email list. You don't need 2,000 people on an email list. Your first criteria for your email list is, drumroll please, focus. So what you need are people who have a similar or the same problem. You're trying to develop a community or a list of people that have a similar issue. So part of where we break down with building an email list is we just build a list, and that's just not very helpful to anybody, to those on your list or to you. So what do I do? Because the question was me. How do I? There's a lot of ways I do it. I don't. Let me try to give you the blueprint very quickly. I offer content in exchange for an email address. That's pretty much it. Now, what I try really hard to do is offer content that solves a micro problem for my audience, for my avatar, for you. Micro problem. So we both know, for example, that you can't build an entire website in 30 seconds. I know, for example, that if I gave you a simple download, you couldn't just build an entire website. But there are micro elements of that problem. There are little bitty problems inside the big problem. And what I try to do is I try to offer content that speaks to one of those micro problems, and I offer a solution. And the exchange is that I will give you that solution in exchange for your contact info, so I can follow up with you. That's the simplest of it. And again, we can make it more complex, but once you understand, have you heard problem solution again? There we are again, problem solution. Right? Again, grabbing that core concept, right? So that's what I do. That's in simplicity what I do. You can make it more complex, but if you get that part right, then building a list is easy. Frankly, it's easy. It actually is easy if you can get your head around that. Good people. It was fun. It was fun. We've been on for an hour. For those of you that have been on from the very beginning, so if you were on when I was on, and now you're off as I log off, cheers to you, man. Salute to you for being with me this entire time today. I've enjoyed doing this. I see the energy of it. So if we like this, I'm happy to keep doing it. Last call to action for me. Right now, I am teaching a YouTube course showing you my model for how I use YouTube to generate inbound leads. I've been following this approach for years. I'm going to be teaching it to a small group of people. If you want to be in that small group, you need to apply to be a part of the group. It's important for me to make sure that we got the right group. I want to have fun. I want you to have fun. I want it to be a profitable experience, both with your energy, your time, and your money. So if you want to do that, link in the description. You click that link, you can apply. We'll talk about it, and then we'll go from there. We'll see if it makes sense for you. Good people, I've enjoyed it. Thanks again. Maurice says he needs the link. Sir, it should be in the description. But if you're mobile, I don't know that. But I'm learning technology, so I'll learn that folks can't find the link if they're mobile. Details for later. Good people, I'm signing off. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Talk to you soon.